Russ Johansson, I wish I might have peace on Earth tonight. And he goes on to elaborate. I'd like this to be a serious question. What would a practical state of peace on Earth look like? And is there a practical, though highly improbable, way of getting there? I know this could be the entire 3-hour show. Feel free to tangent off, like we could stop you. Yeah, but I'm wondering about the Bill Whittle version of that vision. Remember, I'm looking for practical, even if it's improbable. It's a funny thing, Russ. We really, a subset of humanity does have peace on Earth, and we've had it for hundreds of years. And that subset is democracies in Western countries. I remember being stunned. I can't think of an exception to this rule, but stunning to realize that no democracy has ever declared war on another democracy. It's never happened, ever. So I once read something. I didn't coin this phrase. I wish I had. I think the statement was, "Peace is the absence of the resistance to capitalism." Yeah. I know it sounds like, gee, that's what your team thinks, but it's really true, you know. Now, can it be achieved? Well, it has been achieved. You know, we're not at war with Germany. And when we have quarrels with England, now we were at war with England, but they weren't a democracy, a republic democracy. We don't go to war with France because the people won't accept it. We go to war with dictatorships or communists, or they go to war with us, as has been the case throughout all of the 20th century. But the problem is there are some people out there who just don't want to get with the program. And now we get down to the actual nub of it. I don't know whether I know the reason civilizations fall, and I know it's a biological reason, and that makes it extremely difficult to turn around. But I also know that this is the first time that regular people are able to talk to each other, and there's that. And so let's just assume for a minute that we can, because I think people really are at the end of their ropes. I really do feel like there's a big recoil coming out there. So the question is not is there an imaginary world where there's peace on Earth? Because frankly, look, you know, we worry about China militarily, but now our economies are so deeply intertwined, it's hard to imagine if we bombed China or if China bombed us, whether we'd be hitting their plants or they'd be hitting ours. So it's capitalism. And that word I found was apparently coined by Marx. It's really just free trade, right? It's the voluntary trading of things that you want for the things that you have. And so even people who we would consider to be like an arch foe, and they are an arch foe politically, it's hard to imagine a shooting. I can't imagine it, but it's hard to imagine a shooting war with China because there's so much to lose. And the economies are so intertwined, and the people too. So I think if we could just get out there and make a case for this civilization of ours, then I think we would have essentially peace. Look, America's been essentially at peace for 50, 60 years, and so is Britain, and so is France. We've been at peace since the end of World War II, when we extinguished these socialist dictatorships. I think teaching history would be a handy part of this equation. So, you know, if we taught a little history, we might be able to get a little bit of mileage out of it. But ultimately, I've been developing this idea a lot more lately with regard to Islam, because that's the real problem. And as I've been saying, look, let's just assume that you're a moderate Muslim, and on one hand you've got these murdering jihadis who are telling you that the West has a death wish, that we are going to take over everything, that we're going to get all their stuff, and that if you protest against us, we'll kill you because we are in fact following the Quran as it's written. That's all true. Let's say you're a moderate Muslim and you see this, and you live in one of these neighborhoods in France, and you see the French police go into one of these banlieues, one of these Islamic ghettos, to arrest somebody for rape. And instead of seeing the perp being walked out to the car in shame and humiliation, you see 60 youths throwing rocks at the police running away at top speed, and then police cars being smashed with rocks, and everybody screaming Allahu Akbar, and the police go hauling out of there, and they don't come back with tanks. What does that tell you if you're a moderate? Forget about the encouragement it gives to the extremists. What does it tell you if you're a moderate? Well, this is the point I'm trying to make, right? The reason that these jihadis are getting the traction they're getting, and the reason that Western kids go to Syria, which sucks, the place sucks, the whole Middle East sucks, the reason people go there and fight for ISIS is because people want something to believe in. People are wired to fight for things, and some people want to believe in something so much they're ready to go die for it, for the adventure of it, the romance, the commitment, all of that stuff. And if there's nobody telling the story of France and nobody's telling the story of Sweden, and if all the Swedes are doing is saying, please take over our culture, and if there's any way we can help you, let us know. This business about our women wearing miniskirts is obviously an indication that it's okay to rape them, and we're fine with that, because that's essentially what Sweden's doing. Well, then what do you expect the moderates to do? And don't you see how the moderates get radicalized the same way that the German citizens got radicalized by the Nazis? No, never more than 7% of the German population were members of the National Socialist Party, but they radicalized the whole country. Prior to assuming power in 1933 in January, when Hitler was made chancellor, the Nazis never got above 50% of the vote. I think their highest ever was 47, 48%, but they didn't have a clear majority in the Reichstag. But after Hitler became chancellor, they had a plebiscite just a few years afterwards, and they got 98.5% of the vote because they'd radicalized the middle, that no one was pushing back. And that's what we need to do. So, yes, I do think we could have peace on earth. Somebody needs to make a strong case for free markets, and the purveyor of the free markets and the kind of country that really invented the free market, and that's us. And that's why we need your membership, because we can tell that story better than anybody else can.